Hello, students of class 8th. So, today we are going to learn a new chapter, that is chapter number 2, Michelangelo. So, as you can see here are some match the columns. We have to match column A with column B. So, the first one, Mona Lisa, the answer is Da Vinci. The tragedy, the answer is Picasso. The Starry Night, the answer is Van Gogh. Woman with a parasol, the answer is Monet. Mona Lisa, Da Vinci. The tragedy, Picasso. The Starry Night, Van Gogh. Woman with a parasol, Monet. So we will start with the chapter over here. Excellence and integrity to work came together in all the artists whose names are given above, as they did in one of the most brilliant artists of all time, Michelangelo. But read on to see what amazed even him. So, the story is about one of the famous artists of his time, and his name was Michelangelo. Actually, this Michelangelo, you must have heard his name. He was a famous artist of Renaissance period, and he was commissioned by Pope Julius to make frescoes on the ceiling of the chapel, and the chapel's name was Sistine Chapel. Okay, and this story is written by Sampoon Singh Kalra, and his pen name is Gulzar. Alright, so we will start with the story, and the story was actually written with, or you can say originally written in Hindi and later translated into English. Alright. 4 years had passed since Michelangelo's return from Florence, and Rome was beginning to bore him. You can't find faces in Rome, Michelangelo grumbled to Pope Julius. There is no character in the faces here. They all look alike. And what do you say in my face? The Pope asked almost in a jest. So here the conversation is going on between Pope Julius and Michelangelo, and they were talking about something. What they were talking? The Pope was joking here. In a jest means as a joke, and he was joking with Michelangelo. Actually, Michelangelo was finding something. He was finding a model for his work, but he was unable to find. You will come to know what was he finding in the coming slides. Without even a pause, the artist replied, "A burning candle." It took a minute for Pope Julius to understand the barbed words. "I think I know what you mean," he said finally, with a smile. "I am just one more candle that burns at the altar alongside those thousands other, right?" So here, when Pope asked about him to Michelangelo, the reply he got was that a burning candle. the way Michelangelo replied to Pope, it pinched him. He took it in a taunting way. But Pope Julius made the situation normal and he took it normally and he answered him with a smile. But again, what happened? Michelangelo was silent. He was not answering Pope. Then what happened in this paragraph? Angelo, the Pope continued, for 4 whole years you have been looking for Judas. So, in the beginning of the chapter, we came to know that he was finding faces. Michelangelo was finding faces. Now, in this paragraph, we came to know that he was finding the face of Judas. Okay, I can't believe that in this vast universe the Lord has created where no two faces look alike. You cannot find faces and cannot discover models. Surely. Now here, what happened? This Pope, he revealed that he was finding the face of Judas. And who was Judah? Judah was the disciple of Jesus Christ who betrayed Jesus Christ. So here Pope was telling Michelangelo that in this whole vast universe you are unable to find the faces where no two faces look alike. Means he was talking, he was discussing the thing. And what happened? Before the Pope could finish, Michelangelo walked out. Means while talking only, while he was having the conversation with Michelangelo did a very weird thing. He walked out. See, children, if you are talking to someone and if someone without listening to you ignores you without any reason, so you will feel weird, you will feel that what you have done. The same thing happened with Pope Julius. Now Pope Julius looked pensively at the retreating back of his moody painter. Pensively means thoughtfully. So Pope Julius thought that what have he done? That is means this artist walked out. Actually, Michelangelo, one character trait has been portrayed over here, that is of his moody painter. The painter was a moody person. Alright, now this is a very important paragraph, because here we will come to know that what was the task that was given by Pope Julius to Michelangelo 4 years ago. Now listen carefully. 4 years ago, Pope Julius had commissioned Michelangelo for a special task. What was the task? To paint frescoes. Now you will ask me, ma'am, what is a fresco? So I will tell you, a fresco is a mural painting. Mural means something which is done on a ceiling or on a you can say wall with watercolor. Okay, and it becomes fixed when it dries. So he was assigned to paint frescoes of what? Of important events from the Bible on the walls and the ceiling, as I told you, mural painting, and the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. The Sistine Chapel is in the Vatican City. Now they were nearly done. Only the last judgment remained unfinished. Okay, so this was the task that was given, or he was commissioned to do. Commission means a contract. All right. Now here in this paragraph, I don't want any unpleasantness at this stage, the Pope murmured to himself. Why the Pope was murmuring to himself? Because while talking, Michelangelo ignored and he walked out. So that he took it in a very, you can say, negative way, and he was murmuring to himself. Maybe he must be angry, or he must also be frustrated by seeing the frustration of the artist. Okay, he had not forgotten the time when Michelangelo was carving the crucifixion in wood for the Church of the Holy Spirit, and he had come excitedly to Julius, saying he had found just the right model. The model was a dead man. The Pope remembered ruefully how the funeral had been held up for 12 years. Now, this is, you can say, a very, again, another weird, or you can say, unusual incident happened, that he was carving the crucifixion. Michelangelo was making the sculpture of the crucifixion in wood, and for doing this, which model he took? A model of a dead man. Just imagine a dead man's model. So means how artists make a model, you know that very well, na children. A painter or a sculptor, the model should be in front of the artist, then only they can do. And dead man, and that also held, means that also for 12 hours. Because of him, the funeral was held up for 12 hours, not one, not two, not three, but 12 hours. Okay, one day is equal to 24 hours, and 12 hours means half the day. See, it was very insane of him, isn't it? Yes. Now the next paragraph. Bramante, the Pope thought now, yes, Bramante was a great painter too. When you will go and find in the Wikipedia about Bramante, he was the contemporary of Michelangelo. So he, unlike Michelangelo, proudly proclaimed that he conjured faces from his imagination. Okay, now here Pope was thinking about Bramante, and he thought that he was also a great painter too, and he was very different from Michelangelo, and he proudly said that he used to conjure means created, conjure faces from his imagination. All right. But even the Pope had to admit this. Bramante's faces looked as though they had emerged from a common mold. According to the Medici, all Bramante's characters bore a strong family resemblance. Okay. Pope Julius had no choice but to dismiss Bramante and approach Michelangelo. So finally, what happened, children? This Bramante was different from Michelangelo, but the thing which lacked in Bramante was that his models, or you can say the characters that he used to paint or draw, it bore a strong family resemblance. Okay, and it emerged from a common mold. That's why. And Medici is a noble family of Florence who funded public works and helped artists. So they were a family, a noble family, where people used to fund artists. Okay. Now, here. 4 years ago, Michelangelo had started painting the ceiling of Sistine Chapel. He would lie for hours beneath the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, staring at it and muttering to himself. In those lime-coated brick and mud walls, Angelo was searching for faces, the faces of Jesus, the Virgin Mary, and Judas. He swore he could see their flesh and blood forms, but their faces, he mumbled. Their faces are buried deep in the verses of the Bible. They elude me, he groaned. They continued to elude. Now, here, what did we come to know, children? Here, that this Michelangelo, as he was very very unique and he was a moody painter, means his actions were, you can say, it was sudden. Okay, you cannot just think that, or you cannot just predict that what he would do. Okay, and he used to sit beneath the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel and used to stare and muttering to himself. Actually, this was the way he used to search faces. And what happened, he said that he could see their flesh and blood forms, but he was unable to find the faces, because according to Michelangelo, their faces were buried deep in the verses of Bible. They elude means hidden from. They elude and they continue to elude. So according to Michelangelo, or you can say unlike Bramante, who conjured faces from his imagination, but Michelangelo said that the faces were buried deep inside the verses of Bible. Okay. The Pope had begun to doubt Michelangelo's sanity. Sanity means mental health or mental stability. Once he had stood very close and overheard Michelangelo repeating passages from the Bible. "What exactly are you doing, Angelo?" the Pope asked curiously. Now, children, why he must be doing this? In the you can say in the paragraph before, just before this paragraph, we came to know that according to Michelangelo, the faces of the characters were buried deep inside the verses of Bible. So this may be the reason, isn't it? This may be the reason he used to repeat the verses from the Bible, or the and the passages from the Bible, so that he would be able to get the idea of the character, and he would be able to paint them. See, children, if you are a if you love to draw and if you love to paint something, then you will be able to comprehend with me, isn't it? Those who are good painters or those who know how to do the sketching. See, children, first what the thing comes into your mind, something in your mind, that thing only you bring it out on the sheet, isn't it, when you draw that. So the same thing was happening with Michelangelo. All right, but his way of working was different. Now, what Angelo had looked up and startled. Now again, this paragraph. The Pope, once he had stood very close and overheard Michelangelo repeating passages from the Bible. "What exactly are you doing, Angelo?" the Pope had asked curiously. Okay, now here the Pope was asking, "What are you doing? Why are you repeating the passage from the Bible?" Then Angelo replied, "What?" Angelo had looked up, startled. "Oh, I'm trying to unravel these verses. Maybe then I will find the faces." There was a hint of despair in the Michelangelo's voice. So he was trying to unravel the characters. The Pope understood Angelo's frustration. Julius remembered how during one of his inspection he had seen that Angelo had drawn several sketches of the angel Gabriel. "How did you see Gabriel?" he had asked. "He doesn't belong to this world either." Angelo had looked up to meet the Pope's eye. "I heard his voice in the Old Testament." Now, in one of the incident again, Pope Julius remembered that how during one of his inspection he saw Michelangelo drawing the sketches of angel Gabriel. Now see children, you can imagine a people, a human being, even an animal, because you see them, okay? But an angel, only few people have seen, not everyone, and they can we don't know that if they are telling truth, isn't it? But what was the answer given by Michelangelo when Pope asked him that how did you see Gabriel, he doesn't belong to this world? So he said that I heard his voice in the Old Testament. Now, Old Testament, you will ask what is Old Testament? Actually, the Bible is divided into two testaments, that is the Old Testament and the New Testament. The New Testament begins with the birth of Jesus Christ, and the Old Testament is before the birth of Jesus Christ. Okay, we'll move to the next paragraph. Then you must have heard God's voice too, the Pope had joked. I heard his silence. Angelo's words were terse, abrupt, but the Pope had known without the shadow of a doubt that he had chosen the right man for the task. Eccentric, he had told the Vatican Committee, but he is the only one who can paint the Sistine Chapel. Okay, now here children, uh, because Pope had commissioned Michelangelo and he was commissioned to give money to Michelangelo, so he used to inspect Michelangelo from time to time. So during one of his inspection he saw the sketches of Gabriel, and to counter the question with Michelangelo, he again asked that you must have heard the voice of God also. But what was the answer given by Angelo? I heard his silence. A very precise and very to the point answer he had given. See children, the thing is, we means our elders always say na, even my elders used to say that a silent voice within us is the voice of God, isn't it? Whenever we do things which is which is not good, a voice within us always tells us we shouldn't do this, isn't it? Something stops us from doing the things which is bad, okay, which is unacceptable. So that is the voice of God. So when he gave that answer, Pope Julius had the confidence that he had chosen a right man for the task. And in his Vatican committee, when asked question to the Pope, when the committee members must have asked question to the Pope, eccentric. Okay. Now you will ask me, ma'am, what do you mean by eccentric? I will tell you. Eccentric means here strange and unusual. Okay, eccentric means strange and unusual. Alright, but he said that he is the only one who can paint the Sistine Chapel. Alright, now Michelangelo had found Mary with the greatest of ease. Now, who was Mary? Mary is the mother of Jesus Christ. So, Michelangelo had found the character Mary with the greatest of ease. It happened long ago, the day he saw his mother carrying 2 pots of water strung from a bamboo stick on her shoulder. He had thought that the woman who had borne Christ in her womb would have been like his mother, just as thin and frail. He remembered watching his mother with unblinking eyes as she warmed the water for his father's bath. Her face reflected the warmth of the roaring fire, flushed, burning like molten gold. Michelangelo had immediately retired to his study to sketch that face again and again. So here we get to know that he got the idea of Mother Mary from his mother when he saw his mother carrying 2 pots of water that was strung from a bamboo stick on her shoulder. The way women carry the water on the shoulder he saw, and immediately he got a thought that woman who had born Jesus Christ in her womb, that is Mother Mary, would have been just like his mother. Okay, so he went immediately he went to his study to sketch the face of his mother again and again, and he got the model of Mother Mary. But that was a long time ago. Michelangelo remembered that they were living in Bologna. Bologna is a city in northern Italy, and he even remembered vividly. Vividly means clearly, the eatery at the corner of their street. Okay, so the eatery at the corner of the street was his special haunt. It was his special haunt, and his father's too. Means he and his father used to visit that place again and again. You can say regularly also, means most of the time. All right. Now, here haunt means a place which is frequently visited. It is given here also, a place which is frequently visited. Okay. Alright. While his father sat eating inside, Michelangelo sat on a bench outside. He would buy hot peanuts from a nearby vendor, noticing how every time the man weighed them out, a few would fall to the ground. A naked urchin. Urchin is small homeless child, generally dressed in rags, would scurry across the street, pick the nuts and give them to vendor, quietly popping one into his mouth. Okay, so this while his father used to sit inside that eatery at the corner of the street, Michelangelo used to sit outside, and he would buy hot peanuts from a vendor, and whenever that vendor weigh the hot peanuts, few peanuts used to fall to the ground, and a naked small child, you can say a poor child, used to run across the street to pick the nuts and give it to the vendor, and he used to quietly pop one into his mouth. Okay, one peanut for every time he helped the peanut seller. So whenever he used to give, that small poor child used to give back the peanuts to the vendor, he used to give the peanuts and used to pop one peanut into his mouth, and he used to do this with every time whenever a new customer used to come. And this sight Angelo used to notice, and this sight fascinated Angelo. And what happened, he drew several sketches of the child. Many years later, while carving the Madonna of Bruges, he had used those sketches to make the little Jesus small and naked. So Madonna of Bruges is a very very famous statue, you can say a sculptor of Michelangelo, and it is very famous. If you will go and find in the Wikipedia, you will come to know that what is Madonna of Bruges, and you will see a Mother Mary carrying a small child, a naked child. So he got that idea of little Jesus small and naked from that child only. Alright, we'll move to the next paragraph. Then the Pope had asked him to paint the frescoes for the Sistine Chapel. He had refused at first, telling the Pope point blank that he was sculptor and not a painter. He later agreed to a meeting in Rome because it was the one creation that could ensure him a place in history. Not that immortality could be the reason enough for Michelangelo. He had certain other immediate needs in this ephemeral life as well. Most of all, he needed money to buy marble. Okay, So in the starting of the chapter, we came to know that he was a sculptor also, means his main work was to make the statues or sculptor. Okay, now here when my Pope Julius he came with a contract and asked him to paint the frescoes. He refused Pope. He directly refused Pope, and he said that he was a sculptor and not a painter. But later Michelangelo, he agreed to do that work in a Rome, because not only that it would ensure him a place in the history, but there were other needs of Michelangelo as well. Yes, children, we all are people, we have our needs and our basic needs, so that must be the reason. And the most important reason was that he wanted money to buy marble. Why? Because he was more interested in making the sculptures than in painting. Okay, the Pope had promised him money, but he had never given it. When Michelangelo reminded him, he had asked testily, "Why do you love stone so much? Why not canvas and colors?" So, as he was commissioned by Pope, and Pope has agreed that if he would work, then he will give money to Michelangelo. And when Michelangelo reminded him, or must have been asking for money, then what happened? Pope asked him, means he got irritated, and he asked him, "Why do you love stone so much? Why not canvas or colors?" Means he asked him, why you are interested in doing the making the sculptures than in painting, why you are more interested in making the statues. Okay, now what was the answer? A very, very interesting answer that was given by Michelangelo. "Colors merge," Michelangelo had retorted. "They lose their identity and mix with others, unlike marbles." So here for Michelangelo, colors lose their uniqueness when used with other colors, whereas marble does not change. Okay. Unlike other artists of those days, Michelangelo did not conjure up faces in his mind. That is why he always was in search of models like baby Jesus, model of Gabriel, and each of his disciple. Okay. "4 years had sped fast. Ever since he had started work on the frescoes in the chapel, his sculpting had come to standstill, and Angelo was as bored as with colors as he was with Rome." So, Michelangelo was bored because his work had come to a standstill. Why standstill? Because he was unable to find the face of Judas. That's why he used the image this models by see means he was very, very different, children. That's why, and he was unable to find the face of Judas, and that's why his work came to stand still, and he was feeling bored. Okay, and he also wanted to finish the painting The Last Supper, but his imagination failed him each time it came to the face of Judas, which was impossible face to conceive. Okay, conceive means to create or to imagine. Then one day something happened. Okay, what happened? Then one day Michelangelo found him. Found whom? Found Judas. Yes. Michelangelo found Judas. There he was in that small dingy eatery in Rome, a man with unusually bright beady eyes. The man was brimming with restless energy, spitting here and there. He was prematurely bald, and when he talked, the words tumbled out fast like coins from a torn pocket. The man sidled up to Angelo, asking for a change for a florin. What is a florin? Old coin of Florence. Okay, and ended up sharing his food. Later, Michelangelo saw the beady eye man at it again. He was asking someone else for a florin. So he found this Judas in a small dingy means dark and dirty eatery in Rome, and he was very unusual with bright and beady eyes, and he was brimming with restless energy, spitting here and there. And this man was bald. Bald means less hair on his head, and the man sidled means moved in a stately manner, okay, up to Angelo, asking for a change for a florin. He was asking change, okay, and finally he ended up sharing Michelangelo's food. And what happened? Michelangelo saw that beady man again, and he was doing the same thing that he did with Michelangelo, and he ended up sharing food with another person. Okay, so in short, you can say that he was tricking people. Yes, he was tricking people. As Michelangelo watched the man, he realized that this was how the man tricked people for food. He would ask someone for change for a florin as an excuse for sharing their food. Okay. Now, it was not difficult for Angelo to persuade the beady eye man to accompany him to the chapel. Persuade means to ask. Okay. Michelangelo explained to the man that he wanted to use his face as a model of Judas. It will make you immortal, I promise, Michelangelo said solemnly as he lifted the sheets covering the walls and the ceiling. So finally, what happened? As he got his Judas, he was able to persuade that man, and this man also agreed, and he said that this the work of mine will make you immortal. Why immortal, children? Because if the work become famous, his face will be forever in this picture, and people in the coming generation will be able to see that face of the man. Okay. And finally, what happened? Michelangelo lifted the sheets covering the walls and the ceiling. So finally, he started his work. The man gaped, awestruck. He recovered enough to ask for a tidy sum. Michelangelo promptly agreed. So what happened when Michelangelo? Here, what happened actually? The Michelangelo persuaded this man, and the man accompanied Michelangelo to the chapel. Means Michelangelo brought this man with him to the chapel, and in the chapel Michelangelo said that he will use his face as a model for Judas, and that will make you immortal. Immortal means the person who never dies. Okay, means it doesn't mean that this person will not die, but actually his face will be always there, and for the coming generations be able to see his face. And this made this person means it was a surprise for this person, and he agreed on one thing. He that if he Michelangelo will give him a tidy sum. Tidy sum means huge amount of money, and Michelangelo agreed that he will give that man huge amount of money. And from what happened, finally the man this Michelangelo starting to do his work. From that day on, the man came regularly to sit for Michelangelo. One day, the man stood in Michelangelo's studio browsing through a pile of old sketches. Suddenly, he paused at the picture of the urchin from Bologna. Who is this child? He asked. He used to live in Bologna many years ago. Michelangelo said, I gave little Jesus the face of this child. Do you remember the child's name? Yes, Marsolini, said Michelangelo. So, here, while this person used to come every day to the chapel, so one day he stood in Michelangelo's studio and he was going through the pile of his old sketches, Michelangelo's old sketches. He suddenly stopped and he saw the picture of the urchin from Bologna. Okay, Bologna was the hometown of Michelangelo, and he asked, who is this child? Then Michelangelo replied that this was a child from my hometown, Bologna, and I gave this child the little Jesus, the face of the little Jesus. So now that man asked him, Judas, he asked him that, do you remember this child's name? Then he said yes. Michelangelo said that yes, I remembers the child name. And finally, what happened? Very interesting, children. He said yes, Marsolini. Then the man smiled. He rolled up his sleeve. There was a name tattooed on his arm, Marsolini. I am that child, the man said. He whose face you are giving to Judas today. So, what happened, children? Very interesting. It was the same person. When he was small, his face was given to the little Jesus, means as a model. His face was used as the little Jesus, and when he grew up, his face was used as the Judas. So because he was small, he was innocent, है ना? So that's why the face was given of little Jesus, and while he grew up, he must have faced many things. Life circumstances changes people, isn't it? And so the people also change. So now he was used as the model of Judas. So he said to Michelangelo that he was the same baby Jesus that Michelangelo was now painting as Judas. Okay, understood this chapter? So this story, it has been said that when Michelangelo painted, he was essentially painting sculpture on his surfaces. Okay, so this is clearly the case in the Sistine Chapel ceiling, where he painted monumental figures that embody both strength and beauty. And actually, Michelangelo frescoes the chapel ceiling between 1508 and 1512 under the Pope Julius II patronage. Okay, the work is now one of the mainstays of Renaissance era to this stage. All right, now it is written by Sampoon Singh Kalra. See here in bracket it is written, the events described in the story do not necessarily reflect the facts of the lives of the artist mentioned here. And it is written by Sampoon Singh Kalra, better known by his pen name Gulzar. He is known for his poetry in Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi and other languages. He is an acclaimed lyricist for Hindi cinema, along with being an accomplished director. He has won recognition for his contribution to Indian literature as well as to Hindi cinema. Interestingly, before he became a reputed writer, Gulzar worked as a car mechanic. So, this is about this person who has written this story. So, now these are the exercises, children. Quick answers, reference to context. If you want, you may take the screenshot, try to do this question answers in your own words. Then the answers will be provided to you very soon. You may take the screenshot. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. Have a nice day.